we are going to talk about how to build simple AI applications using Interplay. So, Interplay supports all forms of AI applications by a mere drag and drop methodology. So, you can use and run regression applications, classification applications, data clustering applications, all using Interplay. So let's first look at regression. So in order to do regression, you can go in here and you can drag and drop the regression model data block here, and you can start configuring it. So in this case, I've dragged it and dropped it, and I'm not going to spend too much time finding and uploading data. I found a piece of data from Kaggle called the sales trainer, so I uploaded it. And you can also preview the file if you want to look at what's in the file. It's got a shop ID, some data block numbers, some item ID of the items of the products that's been sold, the price, as well as how much has been sold at any given time, right? Based on all that stuff, I'm going here and I'm basically selecting which columns are going to be training columns. So that's what's being used by the regression system to train as the training columns, and the model will use this as a training columns. And then the target column is the column that you're going to predict the data, right? You can click and select all these things very easily. So since I've done all that stuff, I'm going to say done, and I'm going to click on train. As you click on train, you can see a little training icon there. And if you click on the debug window, you can see the training is happening underneath. In fact, in this case, it's already done training, so because I've trained it in the past. And I can also click on it and visualize all the models that I want to see, right? So I can click on here and it's actually showing me the model that it has generated via this training. So in this case, I'm seeing the decision tree graph because I use decision tree as my model, right? And it's basically showing the decision tree graph. It's also showing me, the residual, the predicted values and everything. And if you go further, you can also see the feature importance graph. So this is actually showing me all the feature importance graph in terms of which features are critical, right? So this is a very simple way of inputting data and generating a model. You can also test your model without writing any code. So in this case, we are basically selecting the model that we want to use, right? And then you can input any data, and then the system will automatically pick up the data values from the model, and it can display here. So you can change the data, and then you can click on the switch, and automatically once you do that, it'll actually predict and give you what the value, what the price is going to be based on prior training on the prior input data that you gave in, right? So this is a very simple way of building a regression model without any code, by just configuration. You can do the exact same thing for classification as well. So we have a little trainer here called the classification trainer. You can drag and drop this block and create the same trainer. So if you click on classification trainer, in this case we are using a very simple popular file called Titanic. What this file has is all the passengers of Titanic before it sunk, and then it's going to give you their names, their age, their gender, who did they travel with, and what class of fare they paid. Based on that, it'll predict whether they were a survivor or not, right? So in this case, you can choose the model. We are selecting random forest, and then once we selected our training columns and our target columns, all you have to do is click on the trainer trigger to train it. And as you can see, the training is going on underneath. In fact, I've trained it in the past. A model has been generated. If I want to visualize the model, it's showing me all that information, right? The ROC curves, right? Which features were important. The gender was a very important fact that actually determined their survival, and the fare class that they paid for, right? This is a very simple example of generating models without code. If you want to add code and write and extend this thing, you can always drop in a function here, and then you can extend its functionality by connecting this together, right, and writing custom code to it. But as you can see, just by drag and drop, you can do a lot and achieve a lot in Interplay. Next thing I'm also going to show you is image recognition. So in here, we are taking two data sets. One is the data set on baby products. The other data set is on beauty products. So here we are uploading all the data set here, right, by using this little data block. And what we are doing here is we are going in there and we are basically setting up which data set we are going to use and how much of this data set is used for validation and how much is used for test, for training, right? So now when you click on it, you can see the uploaded data sets. It will take a while because this data set is very large, thousands and thousands of beauty and baby products. As you can see, it's been labeled properly, right? Now, if you were to train this, all you have to do is you can go in there, select the framework underneath. We support both TensorFlow and PyTorch, and you can also select the inception models right there, right? And then once you do that, all you have to do is select on the training here, and it'll start the training underneath, right? And what's really interesting is because we trained it in the past, and it'll takes a while to train, the model is already being generated. So I'm gonna click on it. It's actually showing you the accuracy curves, showing you confusion metrics, right? And all forms of other types of curves, the loss curves, and also the accuracy curves as well, right? So this is a very simple way to generate a model, right? And then you can also use the model that you just generated. So we can select the model that you generated here and predict it. Once it's predicted, in fact, the prediction already ran. You can see how it's classifying all the baby products. Under baby, you can see these are all baby products, right? And if you can see what it classified as beauty, you can also see beauty products, right? So it's a real simple way of, without a lot of code, or actually in fact any code, you have the ability to train very complex set of data sets very easily by using Interplay. So Interplay supports all forms of machine learning systems, regressions, classifications, clustering, and image recognition, and you can achieve a lot without any code. At the same time, you can also customize this functionality by adding your own functions. So this shows you the ease of Interplay and how you can leverage and build AI applications with Interplay. Thank you.